Hey, it's your fearless leader, Lord Farquaad, who had so much power in Duloc that all it took to dethrone me and defame me, humiliate me in front of many, all it took was for me to get swallowed whole by a bad bitch dragon. Welcome back, guys, to Mentally I'm Here. I'm your host, Hillary, and if you're listening, I am in fact dressed as Lord Farquaad, and no, this 5 o'clock shadow is not fake. I just forgot to shave my PCOS beard and mustache. So welcome back, guys. New episode. I can't even keep track of how many episodes it's been, but I'm pretty sure we're getting there. We're almost in the 20s, and that's an achievement for me because I did not think I can, after the break, I was like, oh, I thought that I would lose my shine, but I'm excited. I'm excited for the holidays. I'm excited to do some holiday themed episodes. It's going to be fantastic. But welcome back. I hope everybody had a great week. Hope you guys have been enjoying this podcast. And I bought a lot of costumes. I bought many costumes because let's be for real. I was made to be a theater kid. I never was in theater. I was in maybe one play that was forced on all the students in 6th grade. Like my whole class had to be in this Christmas play, but I was never much of a theater kid. But I think deep down, I know that I'm a theater kid at heart because there's just too many patterns, okay? My quirky humor, the things that I like. I will say I don't like Glee, so am I actually a theater kid? That's for you guys to decide. But personally, would I say I'm a theater kid? Not really, because I feel like if you're a theater kid, you need to like theater. And I'm not the biggest fan of theater. I like seeing people acting. I love seeing people do something that they're really good at. But would I say I'm a theater kid at heart? Not really. I mean, I was watching Cats the musical over and over and over again when I was a kid. So maybe I was a theater kid, but maybe it was more of like a one and done kind of thing. And it just like trickled in through my life as I got older. I was in chorus. I was in band a few times. I did want to get into theater, but I just never did. Anyways, so I feel like I'm a very artsy person. I like drawing. I like the makeup. I even like sewing clothes. I like getting into characters. I like acting. I like filming. I like editing. I like anything that has to do with the arts of filmmaking and just music, television, movies. So Halloween is my time to shine. Even though when I was a kid, I was not allowed to celebrate Halloween. I couldn't get in costumes. I couldn't go to school on Halloween. Don't even get me started on that. It was the most embarrassing thing because my mom would send us, well, she wouldn't send us to school, but we would have a day of no school. And so I was like, okay, that's an even exchange because I don't have to go to school, even though it is Halloween and everybody goes dressed and they're distributing candy and they're having pizza parties in class. That's totally fine. At least I don't get to go to school, right? Where are all my Christians out there? Raised Christians, where y'all at? It's our time to be seen and heard because, not gonna lie, that was a pretty hard time because now when I think about it, I really wish that I went to school during those times because I hear Andrew talking about, like, Andrew, my husband, like, oh, all these great things that we did in school. And believe it or not, Andrew and I actually went to the same elementary school. We just didn't know we were meant to be together years and years later. But yeah, we went to the same elementary school and he would tell me, yeah, like we used to have like these pizza parties and we had like these parades in the hallways. And I'm just like, yeah. And I was at home making handwritten signs and putting them on my window to ward off the children, telling them that we don't have candy. That's a lot more fun than going to school and celebrating Halloween, because my mom believed that it was kind of stupid for children to be begging for candy, but she's from the Dominican Republic, so trick-or-treating isn't really a thing over there. I mean, I don't know if now it's a thing, but back then definitely wasn't a thing. And then coming here, she's not big into the whole begging for candy or going to people's houses and then the dangers of doing that and then being Christian on top of that. So it was a whole thing. And, at least now I can dress up for Halloween, right? Now I can dress up and do fun things and and have plans for Halloween. Like I can go to a party, I can go to a club. I live in New York City. New York City during Halloween is so much fun, and I can't wait. It's Halloween weekend. Well, because Halloween is next week, like on Thursday or Friday, and people say that they don't do Halloween on that weekend. Technically, Halloween weekend is this weekend. And it kind of makes sense because who wants to celebrate Halloween weekend in November? Because, honey, times are running out. It's Christmas time. And that's all I got to say about that. And we'll get into my plans for Christmas time because I don't think you guys understand. But I get it. So this is my time to be going out and still waiting to get invited to some party or something. And I mean, there's a ton of like raves. I love EDM. There's a ton of raves going on and clubs and stuff, but who wants to go alone? I need my squire, who's the guy with the bag around his head. Andrew's not one to go to parties, so I'm lucked out. My cousins don't do that. My sister doesn't do that. She works on the weekends now, so it's just me, but it's okay. I can have my own fun. So what am I doing on a Saturday night on Halloween weekend? I am filming this episode, mostly because I just want to do it. I just want to, the love of doing the podcast. No, genuinely though, I have been loving doing the podcast, shooting the episodes. Editing is like my least favorite part, even though I really like editing stuff. This is like my least favorite because it gets kind of tedious with matching audio to the videos and all this whole thing. But I've been having a blast with this podcast, and just the fact that I can finally channel my rants, just me talking about anything and everything I want in a podcast is fantastic. Also, I got these gloves from the costume, and I have a bone to pick with whoever created these. So we have these gloves, right? They're fantastic. They look fantastic. They are of the most high quality modal. Is this polyester? Don't know. Might give me cancer. Know that for sure. So I have the gloves, right? I can wear the gloves. But the problem comes, okay, you see this one's fine. And you have to keep in mind I do have nails. So that kind of removes an inch or two of space for the gloves. Is this the one that's a little fucked? Yeah. So as you can see, you probably can't if you're listening especially. But the thumb and the pointer finger, it's completely webbed and it's not perfect. There needs to be a little more of a dent here so I can freely move my thumb and pointer individually. But this feels a little crowded and it feels a little overstimulating. And I already have a wig on and a dress that has so much space for dancing. So yeah, like I was saying, I bought a lot of costumes. I don't even think I mentioned it. I bought a lot of costumes because I love Halloween and I like dressing up for Halloween. I like having plans for Halloween, but the plans have not shown up yet, nor do I think they will. Even though I feel like in the week, it will still be kind of fun. Like there will be people going out for Halloween and hopefully someone will hit me up. And if not, I can maybe buy some candy for the first time because I've never handed out candy to kids because I'm not used to doing that. So now that I live on my own, I don't take it upon myself to buy candy because I'm like, I don't know. They knock on my door and I just, 10-year-old me comes into play and I'm like, there's no candy, leave. Yeah, I used to put signs on the windows and I would say that there's no candy, that they should leave. And I used to love seeing the look on their faces, so upset, so heartbroken. And I used to laugh when they should have been laughing at me for standing behind my window, laughing at children doing something that I know I wanted to do, but I was just being petty. So yeah, this is the one time that I wish I had a lot of friends. I like the group I have now, but the problem is a lot of them don't even live in New York, so it makes it a little hard to access my friends. So when things like this happen, like when I want to go to a concert, a rave, or Halloween, the holidays, I'm just like, I would love to have my friends here. I would just love to have friends to do these things with, and not a friend in sight. So it's totally fine. On that note, I bought all these costumes at Spirit Halloween, and I recently found out that there was a Spirit Christmas, and they really missed out on the opportunity of naming it Christmas Spirit. I know they wanted to continue with the franchise of the spirit and then the name of the holiday, but it just sounds so much better if you named it Christmas Spirit, because unless, no, there's no trademarking that, is there? Unless I know nothing about that, or like a copyright. But yeah, and they've opened a few stores. I'm looking forward to visiting them. I don't know where they have some locations in New York, but I will be visiting them, even though I'm not really trying to buy new decorations, because I'm very content with the ones that I have. And I'll get into that just a little bit. So I don't know why I have here that I want to talk about Shrek, because anytime I have any moment that I have to talk about Shrek, any moment that presents itself where it's appropriate for me to talk about Shrek, I'm going to talk about Shrek, because if you must know, it is one of my favorite, if not my all-time favorite movie franchise. And it goes hand in hand with like Harry Potter, but Shrek was, I think, one of the first. No, Harry Potter was definitely the first of the franchise that I've seen. And then Shrek came afterward. Actually, I'll tell you right now, Shrek 1 release date. Okay, so that came out in 2001. And then Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone came out. You guys probably just heard my dog laying down. But, it came out in 2001. Okay, so they came out in the same year. Shit. I don't know which one I saw first. But either way, one of them, I saw them first. It really doesn't even matter. So why am I even talking about that? See, this is why I do cuts. Because I can collect my thoughts so I know what the fuck I'm going to say next. And this is what I get for trying to do everything in one take, or trying to not stop recording, because it just makes it so much easier if I just do this all in one take with maybe one or two cuts, But, so yeah, so Shrek is my favorite movie franchise ever created. And what do I have here? I have here that my favorite character was Donkey. What the fuck am I talking about, guys? Like, this isn't even the point of the video, but, I'm dressed as Lord Farquaad, and so it's only necessary for me to be talking about my favorite characters, and Donkey is my favorite character. With his quick-witted humor, I like that boulder. That is a nice boulder. And just like his jokes overall, like, why would anybody else be your favorite character? Fiona, I used to think she was kind of a bitch. But then she grew on me in movies 2 and 3, because in the first one, she seemed kind of catty and very sassy. Like, Shrek is out here doing his best to save your ass, and you're over here being ungrateful because he's ugly. And listen, you guys, I mean, for those of you that did, some of you did watch my Hear Me Outs. Shrek is anything but ugly. This man is a hero. This man is a savior. And as Lord Farquaad, we all know Lord Farquaad was a little gay. And we know he was a little gay for Shrek. And that's why he was so mad that Fiona rescued. Oh my God, that's what happened. Hold on. Guys, this is like not a conspiracy theory. I think I just solved the case. So what happened was that Lord Farquaad did not want her to get rescued. Like, this was all a test of his love. Like, he wanted Shrek to prove to him that he actually did love him. And he was like, oh, I bet you won't rescue Fiona from the tower, because if you did, then that's a bitch move, and like, you're supposed to be like with me forever. And Shrek was like, no, I want my land back. I want all these migrants out of my swamp, so I'm gonna go rescue this queen who, I don't know how she eats, sleeps, or even lives a life stuck in a tower, unrealistic as hell, but I'm gonna go rescue her. And then that's my best Shrek impression. I'm going to go rescue her, bring her here, and you get all these migrants out of my swamp. And then he was like, oh, fuck, like, what the hell? And then, because he tried to play it off like he was in love with Fiona. Like, Lord Farquaad was in love with Fiona. And let's be honest, he really wasn't. He was in love with Shrek, which is why he wanted him killed. He just wanted to see him fight for his life. And, I would do that too. I would put my man in a serious situation where I would need him to prove his love to me. So I think that's what it is. Shrek is not a story of Fiona and Shrek. It's a story of Lord Farquaad and Shrek. And then Fiona got in the way, that bitch, because she didn't even like him. And then she called Donkey, like, well, no, she called him a noble steed, whatever. But then, like, when the face reveal, can we talk about the face reveal when Shrek removed his helmet, like the brave knight that he is? And she was like, oh, like you're an ogre. Like this is not supposed to be it. Like it's supposed to be my Prince Charming. Little does she know, my 4'11" ass chilling in my castle waiting for Fiona because yeah, I loved her. I picked her out of the fancy mirror. Like, let's be fucking for real. I wanted Shrek to be one of the options. That's what it is. So, I don't know what rabbit hole I just went down, but that makes sense in my head. And maybe this wig it's capturing the heat a little too much in my head right now, that it's making me a little delusional, but that's my stance on it. And then Fiona just had to, well, not Fiona, Lord Farquaad just had to get swallowed whole by the dragon, which, whatever, she's a bad bitch either way. And the musical number at the end of this movie was something that should have been performed at the royal wedding, the Super Bowl, Queen Elizabeth's funeral. Like, this is something that should have been performed in something that is almost like patriotic, because Donkey leading the whole performance, and then the characters, the Three Blind Mice, Pinocchio, the Big Bad Wolf. That's a bad wolf at that. Like, ew. But I'm sorry. Oh, God. This is where I cut, but I'm choosing not to. I'm just going to keep it going. I really need to practice just being continuous. Also, if you're listening, you might be very happy to not see my face, because luckily my vision is very blurry. I can't see myself in the viewfinder, but I did capture myself in the mirror when I was doing my makeup. And let's just say that I should have just gone barefaced, because I look like I held my face over a candle and the soot just got all in my nose and all in on my top lip and the brows. I look like I filled in my eyebrows in the dark. But either way, Shrek 1 was good. It was a good way for DreamWorks to test out their creativity, their creative juices, if you will. And then Shrek 2 came along. That one, Shrek 2, I know all the lines by heart because I used up that VHS tape, which I think I still have. I used up that VHS tape and I don't even think it works anymore because she's been ran the fuck through. Like, I used to watch that every single day. That, Toy Story, and Aladdin were like my top 3 movies growing up, that I can remember that I used to watch religiously on VHS, that I still have. I still have all those VHS tapes. But yeah, Fiona was a little too bitchy for me. It felt a little too political because, it felt very much like, immigrants trying to settle, getting evicted, gentrification taking over Duloc, and these people getting displaced and moved. And it was all these little fairy tale creatures. And can we talk about the slavery that was happening in the beginning when they were being sold for coins? For shillings? You really sold Pinocchio for what? He was a talking wooden doll. How the hell do you sell him like that? And that bitch that sold Donkey, but it's okay because Donkey ended up winning. And where is she now? In a little fucking village, like with her little shillings. Those shillings ran out minutes after you got back home because you had to buy yourself a loaf of bread. And then Donkey is over here being a noble steed, getting transformed into a hot ass horse. I didn't mean hot, but, getting transformed into a horse in Shrek 2. And then in Shrek 3, what happened in Shrek 3? Shrek 3 sometimes is kind of a distant memory because I didn't watch it as much as I watched the second and first one. Right, he was still a hero, living in far, far away, as he should. And where are you? Dead, probably. Bye. So, sorry. It gets me a little irritated because it's always the people that you think that you love, the people that you think you can trust, and they just go off and turn on you like that. And I know I can't get serious with how I look right now, nor do I think I have the audacity to even remotely touch a sensitive topic wearing this entire outfit and having this black liner inside my nose, but we'll see where this episode takes us because I'm already completely derailed. I spent a little too much time talking about something that I didn't want to spend that much time on, but it's totally fine because that's the point of this podcast. We're just exploring conversations. We're talking about random things that, is something that like not many people would really talk about at length. This is only something that I would talk about with myself or my sister, who also loves Shrek as much as I do. So moving on, Shrek 2 is my favorite because Prince Charming made the movie what it is. And one of my favorite lines, and probably something that I shout a lot, or not shout, it's just something that I shout from the rooftops on a daily basis after showering, after eating, after I wake up, after sex, is when the fairy godmother is like saying that she has to do Prince Charming's hair, and then he's like, "Oh, thank you, mother." And then Donkey is out the window and he's like, "Mother." And Shrek looking hot as fuck, and he's just like, "Oh, look, a talking horse." Oh my god, there's just so many iconic moments in that movie. The whole police brutality one, and the catnip, and Puss in Boots getting arrested. It's hands down one of my favorite things in that entire movie. But I feel like Shrek 1 was like a good test, you know? It was funny, but Shrek 2 was just like, okay. The people at DreamWorks were like, it's a hit. This second one, we gotta deliver. We gotta really... Is it breaking the fourth wall? No, breaking the fourth wall is like if Shrek was to look at the camera and tell me to get on my knees and beg for him, you know? And then I'm on my knees begging for him, and then like goes back to acting, you know? So that's not breaking the fourth wall. But I will say it's, you know, that's where I really fell in love with Shrek. His heroism in both movies, and I hope Fiona's grateful. You know, he really put up with a lot. In the first one, he saved her ass. And yeah, she had to transform into an ogre, but she chose that, okay? You weren't forced to be an ogre. The second one, rescuing her ass again because she got manipulated by Prince Charming. And I mean, heck, it probably would have worked on me too. But either way, I mean, he had the most kissable lips. With those lips, what? But either way, I know she was a little thrown off by everything. But either way, she knew what she was doing. And then Shrek is just a hero overall. This man changed his appearance for her. He changed his appearance for her. The potion, and then the run-in with the factory, and almost getting caught. And then in the third movie, he also saved her ass. Now that I remember it. Yeah, because she was having her baby shower because she was preggers, right? And then he had to go and get Fiona's nephew. Wow. Shrek really went through a lot. You know what, guys? That is my relationship advice for anyone who is wondering, I'm stuck. I don't know what kind of man I want in my life. Get yourself someone like Shrek, because in every movie he has proven himself to be noble. And as someone that died of an early age, and I'm probably skin and bones by the second movie, in Dragon's belly, or she probably shat me out. Either way, I am a spirit watching from above. And from what I've seen, Shrek is an angel. That man is a saint. I deserved him. And look at how I took advantage of him. And he continued pursuing that bitch. And now, like in all these movies, he's just over here saving her ass. Doesn't she know how to fight too? Like, I know my girl can bust a move and like fight her way through things, but talk about the patriarchy, am I right? Like, that's just, it has been 30 minutes and I am still talking about this. I am so sorry, but you know, it's the principle of it all. Either way, let's see what we have here. So I also have like my favorite movie franchises, which I'm pretty sure I mentioned in the beginning of this episode, but I have Harry Potter, Shrek, Pirates of the Caribbean. I didn't watch the last two movies, I think. How many movies are there? They're like 4 or 5, right? Pirates of the Caribbean. There are 1, 2, 3. Damn. 6? No, I'm bugging. Yeah, there's like 5. I have seen maybe the first 2, but I love pirates. That's like a weird fun fact about me. I love pirates. I love Vikings. I love vampires. Vampires and pirates, where's the crossover for that? Because I would love to see that. Pretty sure there is something like that. What We Do in the Shadows is one of my favorite shows of all time. Vampires and comedy. Who could have thought of that? But What We Do in the Shadows. But yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean, love that movie franchise. It's I don't know what it is. And now, I guess now, because it's like years and years later, now it's kind of like a cozy movie, which is sounding a little strange because it's like, aren't cozy movies supposed to be like, you know, The Notebook and Autumn in New York and maybe like a Gilmore Girls type of TV show? But no, I'm like, Pirates of the Caribbean, am I right? And I would even throw in Toy Story also. And Toy Story is also in this list of my of my favorite movie franchises. But Toy Story, the only thing about it is that I would only count the first one as my favorite, and that's pretty much it. I don't fuck with the other ones. I like the second one. The third one, you're starting to push it, and the fourth one, I'm just like, okay, what are we doing here? Because apparently it's over, but it's not, because apparently there's like another one coming out, and I'm just a little bit confused as to the original plan that we had thought out originally. It was, you know, after the fourth one, it's over. Someone gets left behind. I don't even remember it, but I do remember being in the theater. I went with Andrew's aunt and uncle, and I was sobbing uncontrollably under his sweater, and I was trying really hard to keep myself composed, but I couldn't. And then all the kids were serious or laughing, and I was crying. It was the best. So my bestie just left. Let's take a moment to just really process that. I do this thing that when someone dies, when I go through something very traumatic or something very sad and it impacts me greatly, I tend to disassociate from it. I push my feelings to the side. I try to not feel it just yet until I'm ready to, which is that a healthy coping mechanism? I don't know. And like I said, I'm not going to get into something serious wearing this costume, but I will say I still started, I started getting a little sad recently, but I'm trying my hardest not to. So what I do is when my bestie leaves, because this is like a yearly occurrence where she comes over, I really remove myself from the situation, and I just continue business as usual, suppress emotions. I let them out little by little, but I don't let myself feel too much. So I just miss her a lot. I think that's what I'm saying. And I just don't really want to admit it because I don't want to cry. That's that. But she got here last Wednesday. We got our nails done. We got coffee. We got bagels. I gave her the classic Queen's experience, bacon, egg, and cheese. And then we got halal from my favorite spot. And then we saw Billie Eilish on Thursday, which I have been to many concerts. Not as much as other people who have probably been to a lot of concerts, okay? A lot of people have probably gone to a lot of concerts. One of my dogs is currently dreaming and he might start crying, so if you hear that, that's not me beating them with my extended arm or anything. But that's so, why am I saying these things? Oh. My child. Anyways, so we got her. Should I wake him up? Usually I never know what to do in these situations because I don't want to startle him. So I just kind of let him write it out. You know, just cry as much as you want, Queen. Okay, he's fine. So we saw Billie Eilish on Thursday. What was I saying? I've been to many concerts. And then what else was I saying? Yeah, I've been to Ed Sheeran, Kanye West. I was going to say Coldplay. That's on my list. I've been wanting to see Coldplay. Manifesting that. I want to see him so bad. I want to see Chris Martin so bad. I need to experience Fix You and Paradise and A Sky Full of Stars in person. I need to experience that. But Kanye West, Ed Sheeran, One Direction, but after Zayn left, we also haven't spoken about Liam Payne dying. Wow. Hey guys, how are you guys doing? I'm fine now. I was not fine on the day and days afterward. Don't want to get into that, but yikes. Yeah, am I right? Again, don't want to get into serious topics when I'm wearing this. Also, I don't want to cry. I don't want to ruin my beautiful makeup. And yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure I've been to other ones, but nothing topped Billie Eilish. It was a spiritual experience. Pardon me. I'm yawning. But it was a spiritual experience, 100%. I did feel like my friend and I were on a school field trip because we were definitely the oldest ones there, not including the parents. I'm talking about like youth-wise. I feel like Maddie and I were definitely in chaperone level type of age group. I felt very aged out. Everybody around me was younger than us. I can just feel it. I felt the post 9/11 birth around me. Like, these kids were not, they don't know what 9/11 is. They don't know who Monica Lewinsky is. They don't know what the roller skating is. Like, they don't know what any of that stuff is. And it was it was an experience. But overall, the concert was amazing. I felt like it lasted a good amount of time. Like, I felt like it lasted like 2.5 hours. Like, it felt like a very long concert, but I'm not mad at that. I like a nice long concert. If I'm going to pay good money, I better see a performance that lasts a while. And she gave it her all. The fact that like she can perform on a stage that's kind of 360 and she gave equal time to every side, I felt seen. I felt heard. I felt like she can hear me singing to her from the nosebleeds. To be honest, I forgot the layout of Madison Square Garden, but if you sit too high up, your best view are the screens that they provide for you, so you can have a better view of the stage. And with that being said, from now on, MSG is either section 100s or floor. I'm not doing section 200s anymore. I'm sorry. I don't care. I will splurge. I mean, I'm always a believer in splurging one of your favorite artists. And this was someone I wanted to splurge, but finances did not allow me to splurge. So I had to really get what I can get and not be upset. But if I had the money, I would have gotten section 100. And honestly, I could have gotten away with floor, but I'm kind of short and my friend is way shorter than me. So that would have really not been beneficial for either of us. So after the concert, not after the concert, but like the day after, I took her to Cold Springs, New York, which, if you don't know, it's like an hour-ish from Manhattan. It's like upstate. You know, people don't really consider it New York, but it is New York. I'm looking to retire to a place like that because it looked very much like Stars Hollow. If Stars Hollow was a little more tiny and not as, it was as quaint. It was very, very quaint. But it was I loved going there. That's where I went when I first went hiking. And then I went again another time. Did I go? No, I didn't. Because I was like, oh, I'm going to bring my best friend when she comes. So yeah, this was my second time visiting and I didn't even get to go to the antique shop. So I'm going to have to make another trip to Cold Springs, New York to visit the antique shops. And Andrew and I are actually going back up towards that direction, but we're going to Beacon, which is like 15 minutes a little more north from, look at me using compass directions. You know, I recently started learning how to do that, like knowing that I live on, no shit, Sherlock, I live on the East Coast. So like, I'm like, oh, if I'm going further into Long Island, I say, oh, it's further out east. Did I just say that? Because I, for some reason, couldn't compute with that kind of direction with like compasses and shit where I'm like, oh, like further in Long Island, is that like north, like no. But now I'm like, yeah, I'm going to the South Shore. I'm going to Oceanside. That's in the South. No, I'm going a little further up north, or I'm going a little more out west to Pennsylvania or whatever. And I'm just like, oh my God, she's a fucking compass. What can't she do? You know? I can't drive where there are no streetlights, but she knows her directions. I definitely do. Left, right. I write with my left hand. But yeah, also, random thing. I can't drive in a place that doesn't have streetlights because it petrifies me, especially at night. I mean, during the day, okay, fine. But a place that not only doesn't have streetlights, but has wildlife, my OCD is constantly telling me that there's going to be a deer or a bear running out into the middle of the street, and I need to prepare to swerve and turn my wheel as hard as I can. And that is why I don't drive in those types of places. If I can really erase it from my mind and not think about it, I'm perfectly fine. Because in Cold Spring and like going up north to there I go, using compass directions once again. But if I go up north, I don't really think about, oh, the deer, the bears, but if I go to Pennsylvania for some reason, I'm a little more like as if like we don't have it in Cold Springs, but we do. But nonetheless, there's something about driving in a place with no streetlights. If I'm left to my vices and my headlights, consider me dead. I don't want it. I don't like it. I feel very... And a place that doesn't have streetlights, I'm already associating it with solitude, desolate areas, rural. I hate saying that because I sound ridiculous when I say it. Rural. Say it with me. Rural. Rural. I think the word should be rural, so I'm going to say rural. More desolate. Let's try that again. More desolate, more rural neighborhoods. And sorry, guys, I'm sorry. Look at me making up words. But I don't like driving in those neighborhoods because I always feel like something is about to happen. So I make someone else drive. Unless it's daytime, then I don't mind driving. We just have to make sure to get back to the city as quickly as possible before the sun goes down. And I only have my street lights to work with. So anyways, we got scammed. Yeah, my friend and I, we got scammed. We went to one little thrift antique store, right? It was very cute, very quaint, very upstate New York, and loved it so much. It was so cute. Overpriced decor and a lot of overpriced things that were created by locals, you know. And I came across this shell towards the register. And it was one of those things where it was like, I should have just kept walking and left because we were walking out of the store. But this shell caught my eye. And the guy was like, oh, you know, this was created by a local and she only brings in 4 a month and she hand paints the shells. I'm going to show you guys the shells. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Let me reach. I have the shells right here just so you guys can see. So this is the shell, right? I'm going to get out of frame so you guys can really get a good look at it. So this is the shell, right? And for those of you that are listening, it's a shell that you get at the sea, you know, your typical seashell, but it's pretty concave and there's like a good amount of space. It's pretty big. And so there's room to like paint on the inside. So what this person said was that this artist paints the inside of these shells. And I'm like, wow, this is stunning because the painting on this is like, it's a famous painting. And I don't know what the painting is, but I know it looks famous. So I was like, okay, perfect. And it was $30. I was like, you know, supporting a local artist. I love supporting small businesses. Like this is my small business, small town dream come true. So I'm going to support this business. We come home and first of all, he only took cash. So I have to go across the street to this pizzeria, take out money from the ATM, pay the $2.75 fucking service fee to pay $30 in cash for this shell. And then I come home and the next morning I'm admiring the shell. I'm like, this is such a gorgeous shell. Look at her. She's so hand painted. Look at me thinking that I finally got something so unique, so one of a kind. Nobody else has this but moi. Only to come to find out that this isn't even painted. And here's the thing. You might say that it's paper mache and she like painted on the paper mache and then used like Mod Podge and then like put it on the shell. But that's really what it is. It's like a fancy sticker, right? That she just Mod Podged onto the shell. That's the word, right? Mod Podge onto the shell. And because you can see like the divots. You can see that it's like paper. You know when you try to fold paper and it like just crinkles up towards the end and it creates like all these little ridges at the end? That's exactly what this did. And then I started kind of scratching it and that's exactly what it feels like. It's just paper. It's not painted on, love. That's what we were told. We were told that this was painted on. Now you tell me if this is painted on and we're just full of shit. Yeah, that doesn't look very painted on, does it? Yeah, no. I think you guys can see the ridges. I'm sorry if you guys are only listening to me saying this, but hopefully my description was good enough. you can tell if it's painted. There's textures that you can feel. The colors look a little more vibrant, a little more popped out, you know? You can definitely tell if it was painted on the shell, because I was like, there's no way that this bitch did that. And what I came to the conclusion was this gold trimming around the shell is like a gold trimming, but it was like a seal, so that way you can't see the sticker. And, you know, I would love the curious cat in me, meow, really wants to find out if that's exactly what this is. But I don't want to rip it apart because it's $30 for a fucking shell. And I just don't want to rip it apart because it's still cute. I have it on my coffee table. It looks at me every fucking day. And, you know, Andrew didn't strangle me and hang me from our ceiling fan because I had a friend here and he wouldn't want her to be a witness. But, yeah, he was not very happy to find out that I spent $30 on a shell from Michael's with gold paint from the dollar store. So that's that story about upstate New York for you. I don't even know the name of the store to warn you guys to not get scammed like how I got scammed. You know what it is? It's because we were Hispanic in a predominantly like white neighborhood. And he was like, look at these dumbass Hispanics. I'm about to scam the fuck out of them because they believe anything. Like how America is such a dream country. Look at how they fell for that. I bet I can fool them with my fake shells. So Bestie was here. We had a fall girl fantasy moment. We went to a farm in Long Island and we couldn't look more like a lesbian couple, not just because of what we were wearing, but because it was predominantly full of families and couples, and there weren't any, from what I have seen, there weren't any besties. You know how like there's like that group of besties that go to these farms and things? No, it was just her and I, and amongst a sea of children and parents, and then like male and female couples. And I was like, well, I guess we're married to each other today. I tried apple cider for the first time, and I really thought that it was like apple juice, but like almost carbonated and kind of like soda-y. And so I was very adamant about trying it, but I tried it and I was baffled, bamboozled, and gagged, but mostly gagged. And it tasted so good. We got apple cider donuts. They were the fluffiest, softest donuts I have ever tasted in my life. And I want to go back so bad because I need those donuts. And that place only took cash, and we had just enough cash to get 6 donuts and 2 apple cider drinks. So that was fantastic. And then the other days was just, we were just chilling. And then she left me and I completely forgot the rest of the days. Luckily, I had therapy that day when she left me because I'm going to create a part in the middle of my, because I can't stand the bangs. So, bitch, I look so much worse. I have such a big forehead. This does not help my appearance. I really hope Andrew wants to stay married to me. Merry Christmas to all who celebrate. I know this is not the appearance of someone who's ready for Christmas, but trust me, the decorations are coming a little closer to the front of my closet. They're just inching forward. They're just scratching their way. That's the scratching that I hear at night at 3 a.m. It's my Christmas tree scratching at my door. Sounds terrifying, but I'm planning on keeping my decorations up for a while. Last year, I kind of did the same thing. Decorate day after Halloween, keep it up until maybe mid-January, a little earlier, because there's something about Christmas decorations where personally, I don't think you should keep Christmas decorations up past January 15th. I feel like it's like, maybe you should take it down. And also, you don't want to keep your decorations up to the point where it feels like it's becoming a part of your home decor. You know what I mean? Because I feel like at that point, the magic of the Christmas decorations starts to kind of dwindle down. The decorations don't look as shimmery and glimmery and bright. The mystery of the holidays is supposed to be the fact that it's such a limited thing, and you're supposed to, that's why it's like such a small period of time, a small window, if you will, of the decorations that you have to enjoy it, which makes it even more special. Personally, that's what I think about it, right? And also, I want to get my money's worth, which is why, even though I'm not going to have it up for that long, I feel like day after Halloween into maybe January 3rd, 4th, 5th is a good amount of time. These months go by quickly, folks. We're already in November. where the fuck did the year go? I'm telling you, my therapist told me that I disassociated the entire year. And I believe her more and more, because I really don't know how this entire year flew by. I'm just completely unaware. And I feel like I have fully established the fact that this is my style. You know, nostalgic Christmas is my style. I have always been a fan of the red and green, the traditional. And then when I moved out 4 or 5 years ago, I was like, oh, I want the beige. I want like the gray and the stuff. And I was like, when I started incorporating that, I was like, it looks too formal. It looks too corporate. I was like, we got to make it look nice. And like, I don't want it to look too tacky. I wanted it to look like a Ralph Lauren Christmas, if you will, you know, just like very sophisticated red and green decorations with like very gorgeous pillows and throws and bows and like red wine type of ornaments. And y'all, I am excited. I will be decorating next week. That's a promise. I'm not going to wait, because I'm itching to take out at least one decoration and remove the pumpkin and just replace it, you know, just to give it a little tease. But also forgot to mention that Christmas, you know, I like Michael Bublé. In fact, I love him. I love his voice. Very buttery soft, very smooth. I love Mariah Carey. But I think that Christmas is a Josh Groban season. If I had to compare both of them, Michael Bublé and Josh Groban, obviously Michael Bublé does a little more with Christmas, you know, theoretically, like he does more. Like there have been more Christmas songs of his and more appearances for Christmas stuff. And Josh Groban is kind of in the shadows. He's kind of not like, you know, he came out with that one album, but I think that's what it is. My mom raised me on that damn Josh Groban album. And that's all that's not all I listen to, but between Michael Bublé and Josh Groban is the Christmas album that just gets ran through and played over and over and over, to the point where, you know, like when you hear words repeatedly that they start to not make sense. That's what the entire Josh Groban album, Christmas album, sounds to me. The First Noel, amazing album, very spiritual journey. But that's what it starts to sound like for me. Like it starts to sound like mumbo jumbo. Like I can't really understand the words because I'm hearing it so many times that the words are starting to mix together. I'm not understanding what I'm listening to. But yeah, so I don't make the rules. Actually, I just did. And you're mad. But forget Michael Bublé. Josh Groban is where it's at for Christmas. He is the official CEO of Christmas, for me at least. And I'm going to make it for everybody. So I encourage you, if you have not listened to the First Noel album of Josh Groban, I highly encourage you to. You know what I wish for the most? More than money, more than a banging body that can fit through the cracks of my floor. That's how skinny I would be. I wish that I was very well versed and like really good and quick-witted with like pop culture references and like references to books and movies and TV shows. Like, you know, those people that you can talk to and then they're like, yeah, like in the movie, this, and this, or like they'll be talking and then they'll be like, or as like Tom Cruise says in Men in Black, he wasn't in Men in Black, but you know what I mean? Like people that are so quick with the words and like they know what to say. And I'm just like, either that person has a different type of ADHD or they're just so good, because I don't know about you guys, but I have the type of ADHD that the hyperactivity is all in the mind. So my mind is going a million miles an hour. So I am very prone to slurring my words, forgetting things quickly. I'm talking about one thing and then I forget what I was talking about. I jump from topic to topic. And if that sounds like you, then I think we would have a great conversation together. And not being able to come up with things on the spot. So like when people ask me like, what are your favorite movies? Bitch, I got to pull up my list. I have a list of movies, of TV shows. I can't just say it out in the open. Like I can't just raw dog the words, you know, unless it's something that comes from the heart. Like if I'm talking to someone like, and I'm giving them advice about life, about love, about anything in the world, I can really speak from the heart, even if I haven't experienced it myself, because I consider myself to be a big empath in that sense. But when it comes to having casual banter with people and just being able to talk about anything and bring up references about, again, books, movies, TV shows, and pop culture, I'm just like, how do you guys do it? And granted, when I see it, it's like usually in like podcasts and like hearing people talking and stuff, and when I'm talking to people in real life also, but I'm just like, in the podcasts, I'm just like, I wish I was like that, because I feel like I could be funnier. I feel like I would be able to carry out a longer conversation if I can rant and be able to continue the rant without feeling like I'm running out of words and running out of ideas. And I'm like, I don't know what else to talk about. I got to either switch it up or find a way to bring in some pop culture reference to like bring it all to fruition. So that's something that I've noticed about myself with this podcast. I'm like finding a hard time to get my words out sometimes and really have a nice stream. You see right now, I just can't. I just forget what I'm about to say, and then I have to cut it, and then I get pissed, and then I'm just like, oh, this isn't for me. And then when I have a great successful episode and it's like doing well, I'm like, you know what? I love this so much. I actually just took like a 25-minute break because my camera battery died, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to rush this episode. I want to take my time. I want to have fun, because that's what this is. This podcast is me having fun banter with you guys, mostly with myself, but interacting with you guys in the comments, obviously. But yeah, like I have like a really hard time with banter about, and being like very quick-witted about certain things that I might not be super knowledgeable about. Like I have topics here about things that I would love to talk about, but I'm just like, I can talk about it, but like maybe for like 5 minutes, and then we got to move on to the next thing, or I got to get really creative. Let's see. Oh, I want to start collecting physical media once again. This came to fruition when a while back a lot of these streaming services were removing their choices, like movies and TV shows. And it was things like, what was it? Xbox? No, it was a gaming console, I think, where they, people would buy movies and TV shows, but then because they lost the rights or like the licensing or something, they lost access to it. And that is what got me to be like, I really need to start collecting like DVDs again, VHS tapes. Like I have a DVD and a VHS player. Like I have been having it since 2007, I want to say, and it's been with me all throughout these years. And then when I moved out, I snatched that shit up because I have the pleasure of owning all of my home videos too. My mom decided to give them to me because she knows that I'm the one that watches them. I'm the only one that gives a fuck about keeping the family together and holding these memories near and dear to us. So I'm in charge of collecting these relics, and I'm more than happy to. I'm trying to live my life like it's 2004. And I mean that. Either 2004 or before that. Because there weren't DVD players in like 99. But, it's like a mix. I'm like a hybrid, I'm like 1 foot in 1998, 1 foot in 2004. Like it's, living in those years is great. So, except 9/11, obviously, except 9/11. Jesus Christ. I don't even want to get into that. But anyways, so I am starting to live my life like it's pre-cell phone. I mean, cell phones have been around for a while, but I'm talking like iPhone sidekicks, the Blackberries, the Nokias. Nokias were around for a while, but you know what I mean? Like just that era of when we were listening to CDs before LimeWire became a thing, before all these like illegal pirated music services became a thing. And then like when I saw that thing that was happening with those gaming consoles like a few years ago, I was like, so I feel like I need to start collecting or actually buying DVDs, because I feel like this can all just go away. These streaming services, they're constantly removing, adding, and moving them to other platforms, and then you have to subscribe to those other platforms. And so I'm just like, I'm just gonna get physical media. So I haven't started yet, but I have started collecting vinyl records. I've been buying CDs. I went to the thrift store a few months back and I found Backstreet Boys' Black and Blue album, And then I got a Britney Spears and a Backstreet Boy CD. It was like a mix of those two artists, well, boy band and artists. And then I have a Mariah Carey album. I have the Dido album. If you know, you know. And I recently bought a Cher album. And then the other day when I went to Cold Springs with my bestie, there was a record store. And I bought I bought two records. I bought the Tears for Fears vinyl. I love Tears for Fears. And Sade. I love me some Sade. I'm a smooth operator. Smooth operator. I bet if you're driving home right now and you're just listening to me, you probably just fell asleep at the wheel because I know that voice was soothing as fuck. And yeah. And then there's also the game of collecting magazines. You know, I subscribed to The New Yorker last year in October, and I know that because I just got charged $169 for the yearly subscription because I subscribe for digital and print, so it's $169 a year. And that got taken out of my bank account the other day, and I did cry. And, you know, I forgot that it was a yearly thing, but I definitely remember that I was subscribed because I get an issue every fucking week. I haven't read a single one. I read a few articles in one issue, but I haven't fully read one. It's a lot of things to read and digest for someone that can't focus on a TV show. You know, I can't sit and watch a TV show. I have to be doing something. So how do you think I can sit and read? I really want to start reading again. I mean, I say again, and I'm talking like last time I read a book was like Nancy Drew and Goosebumps when I was a kid, but those are really the books that I remember reading from beginning to end were the R.L. Stine. There was like Goosebumps, but then there was like, what is it? Was it Fear Street? Yeah, I think it was Fear Street, where it was like the more mature version of like Goosebumps, and it was like scary books. There was one about like cheerleader that I remember reading, and I remember getting nightmares reading those books, but I love them nonetheless. And those were the only types of books that I can read. Anything that was horror or like remotely like creepy, like ooh, things going bump in the night, that's what always captured my attention. Now I bought a few books that I wanted to get into, maybe some fiction. And that's the thing too. I don't know what I like necessarily with books, and I haven't really explored that. And I really want to, because I really want to get into books. So if you guys have any recommendations, please send them to moi, because I would love to start reading. I bought A Little Life, which is one of those books that everybody has read, kind of like how everybody had to read Lord of the Flies in high school. And I've seen a lot of people reacting to this book and saying that it's like such a punch in the gut type of read. And I like that. I can do with like a really sad book, you know. I don't know if I can handle it, but I'll read it. And then I go through my phase where I'm like, oh, I love neuroscience. I love psychology. But that's the thing. I do love neuroscience and psychology. So I love dabbling in books that teach me about the brain and how the brain functions and things that cause people to act a certain way because of brain function. So I love sociology. I love studying people. So when I find books about that, like I bought a book about gender and our brains and how different they are, how like men's brains are different than women's. Obviously women's are more superior and amazing and beautiful and so unique. And then men's is like as small as their penis, this big. Just kidding. Not really. I am kidding. Love men. You know, I've come to realize, I told Andrew, I was like, you know, if God forbid, I would die. But God forbid, Andrew and I ever got a divorce for any reason, I would never date a man. I would get with a woman, but never with a man. It's just not in the books. If I had cards right now, I can shuffle through them, and I'm telling you right now, I would never be able to get with a man. I would be single for the rest of my life because I hate men. And when I say I hate men, obviously it's with the exception of my family, like the men in my life. Like those men are superior and they can do no wrong. I mean, they can, but anyways, so I can't see myself with a man because the things that I see now with men, frankly, I am disgusted. I am so turned off by anything men. And Andrew is such an exception because he is nothing like that. Like, he is a walking green flag with the things that he believes in, the way he treats women, the way he treats me, the way he acts, the way he's so comfortable with his masculinity. I'm just like, and the way he's so nice and so respectful and so fucking hot. And I just know I can't get that anywhere else. This man loves me. And the things that I see now with men, granted, there are some shit women out there, but I don't know. Officer, my dog agrees with me. He just ran his whole face through the rug and started shaking his face. But when, with the exception of my dogs too, they're the only men I trust besides the men in my family, obviously. Where am I going with this? Basically, my dog just slipped off the chair. I need a bigger chair because he does not. Oh, that broke my heart. Anyways, yeah, lesbian. Am I a lesbian? So again, like I was saying, if I was to ever get a divorce from Andrew, there is no way in hell you will ever find me dating a man ever again. I would probably be single for the rest of my life. I would be, it would be amazing. And I saw this lady who's like in her mid 40s, and she does like a day in my life and like unwind with me after a long day of work or something like that. And she's like 40 something, no kids, no pets, no spouse. And I look at that and I'm like, in another world, that's me. Because I think I've grown up to be very independent and loving my own space and my own company, that I'm like, I don't need anybody. But then I'm like, yeah, but Andrew is your whole life. So I'm like, obviously I need him because he's everything. He's my best friend. He makes me feel so warm and fuzzy, and he makes me feel beautiful. And this man is just everything I wanted in a man. Just so tasty. I'm so sorry if that was super close, but he's just everything I ever wanted in a man. We've been together for 11 years. If I didn't want to be with him, I would have left his ass. But things are going fine with us, and I don't want to ruin that. But again, I don't know. My sister's single, and I'm just like, I'm terrified for her, because if she ever gets with someone, that would be the first time I ever physically get into an altercation with a man. I can already see it. If anybody tries to come at my sister sideways, like, I'm not the one. And I just, with the things with TikTok and like the alpha males and the men with the podcasts, and it's such a thing. I'm just like, these men in their podcasts, they really need to start investing in journals. I don't think we push journals enough, and there needs to be more propaganda. We need to see presidents and celebrities promoting journals. We need to see journal brands like collabing in festivals, and like, with a ticket, you get a free journal, and then like make the journals like with, Spider-Man on it, or, give the men the journals with the lock boxes on them with the little locks. You remember the journals that we used to have when we were kids, like the girly girls? We used to have the journals with like, there was that really complicated one that would close, and it was like a fucking safe. What's this journal called? Journal from early 2000s. Oh my God, I found it. The 2000s diary. This was, what was it called? The Password Journal. I'll put a picture up so you guys, from Girl Tech. Oh my God. I remember my mom bought this, and I remember when I said the password, and it's such a vivid memory. I couldn't open it because I forgot the password, and I was watching an episode of Backyardigans, and so I was overstimulated with the sound of the Backyardigans playing in the background, and the sound that this journal makes when someone that they don't recognize is trying to get into the journal is like, she says like, intruder, and she had like this obnoxious British accent, and then it would play this really loud sound, and then it was like, oh my God, Andy's coming, like, hide the journal. And I was just like, bitch, it's me. Open the fucking thing. I want to write in you. But I don't know where that journal went. I don't know what happened with it. Frankly, I didn't write much in journals. Actually, no. There is one journal that I wrote front to back, all pages. But it was a journal that was like this big, right? It was very small. So that, where is that journal? there's a lot of deep, dark secrets in that journal. And wherever it is, I really hope that it's fully destroyed, because I would never want anyone coming across it and reading what's between the lines of that journal. I will get arrested. No, I won't. But it's just very questionable. I would never want someone to read it. What was I even talking about? I mean, I was talking about wanting to collect physical media, but then I went from talking about wanting to collect physical media to saying that if I ever got a divorce with Andrew, I would never get with a man again, and I would be solo forever. How did we get here? I really don't know. I want to buy more magazines. I genuinely don't understand. But yeah, I guess going back to the topic, I want to buy more magazines. I bought this because I'm in a phase, right? Well, I went through the phase of the 80s postmodern phase, and I was trying to find inspiration for home decor. And I remember trying to find magazines from the 80s to find inspiration. And I found all these Architectural Digest journals, which, by the way, they have all the issues online, but it's a subscription that you have to pay $25 a month in order to have access to these issues. And I was paying $25 a month since last year in October, right? And how many times have I been on the website? Twice. I've been on the website twice, and I've been paying $25 a month from last October until now. And then I was like, because there's a lot of things, right, that get taken out every month. And when I notice my money dwindling, I'm just like, where the fuck is this money going? Don't even get me started with Apple and how she likes to bulk up all my subscriptions in one and then take out $31 in one jump, giving me a fucking heart attack, because I'm like, who has access to my information in my bank account and my Apple ID? Because every time that happens, and you know what's the worst part? They don't break it down for you. You gotta go to the App Store, you gotta go to subscriptions, and you gotta look for it yourself. You gotta look for the list of things that you're subscribed to, that you have been subscribed to for years, and you're like, I don't use this planner. It's been 5 years. I don't use this planner. I've been spending $7 a month on this planner, and I've been paying for this planner for like 3 years. I don't use this planner. I don't even have the app. So, hello. I have 30 agendas and they're all empty. So who's the real idiot? Not me. Apple for taking out my money. And you know, they really need to start doing this thing where they need to have like, since everything is so fucking smart, they need to have like these sensors or something that can tell them like, hey, Hillary hasn't been using this app in a while. Maybe we should send her an email to let her know that she's not using this app, and maybe ask her if we can charge her. Is she still using this app? So that way she can cancel it or re-download the app and use it and stop being such a lazy fucking bitch, because I'm sick and tired of getting all this money taken out, Apple. I'm sick and tired of it, and it's stressing me out. But I have it under control now, because now I have it in my notes app. I have all the apps. I have all the subscriptions that I'm subscribed to, and the list of just all the things that just absolutely rip me a new hole every fucking month. So back to what I was saying about the magazine. So with the magazine, I subscribed to Architectural Digest. I had access to all these issues for months and months, and I only used it twice. And then I bought a 1991 issue from eBay to get Home Inspo. And I love that magazine. And that kind of got me to want to start collecting magazines, because I'm like, it's just so much fun. When you like, I mean, I get that feeling too when I get the New Yorker in the mail every week. And I'm just like, you remember the excitement when you were subscribed to Vogue and all these other magazines, and you would get them in the mail, and you were so excited. You were smelling the pages, and all those little postcards fall out. Oh my God, subscribe and receive a free tote. And you're just like, oh, fine, I guess I'll do that. I remember that was like the number one thing I used to do when I would go to Walmart with my mom. We would just go on a weekday. It'd be nice and empty, and I would be like, I'll be at the magazines, Mom. And then that was a time when like J14 was popular, Tiger Beat, and I would get not the One Direction, the Jonas Brothers, anything that had Jonas Brothers on it. I was on that like there was no tomorrow. It was Jonas Brothers and Josh Hutcherson, and then Nick Jonas if he was individually in a magazine or something. But yeah, so, with physical media, there's just something so special about having physical media, about having all of your DVDs collecting dust, but you have all of your DVDs, You don't need internet connection to watch your DVDs, God damn it. You have everything there, right there. And I have all my VHS tapes from my childhood. They're all chilling in my spare room. I have a space in that closet in the spare room. It's my 90s memorabilia space, and I'm starting to collect a bunch of 90s stuff. And no, I'm not pathetic. I'm just very unique, and I have a lot of hobbies that I'm recently discovering about myself, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with that. I have a lot of hobbies, but collecting this little 90s memorabilia stuff is a lot of fun. I bought this, you remember Brain Quest? I got like the Brain Quest. It's like it's almost like giant index cards, but it's like laminated paper, and it's just like a bunch of flashcards attached to like a little hook thing at the end, and it's just a bunch of questions and fun facts about science, math, whatever. And I used to love just reading through that and not putting that into use whatsoever. And then I have all of Andrew's Game Boys. He has all of his Game Boys. Oh my God, I regret just not preserving any of my toys that I would love to have now, like my Game Boys. I had my Nintendo DS that I let my mom send to my cousins in DR. Where are they now? They threw them out. So that was my mistake. But I have that. He has a Game Boy Advance. My mom recently gave me my dollhouse. That was kind of emotional. And she's there. And there's something kind of special about having the toys that you used to play with. Because it's like, I don't know, the way I think about it, I'm just like, there was a time where I touched this dollhouse for the last time, and I was a kid. So there are 12-year-old Hillary fingerprints on this dollhouse. I don't know, when I think about it like that, I'm like, damn, that's kind of weird. That's kind of bizarre. But that's like, I think about weird shit like that. My mind, she wanders, she goes places. But yeah, isn't that kind of strange? With that being said, that's going to do it for this week's episode. I can't stop yawning, and believe it or not, it's actually 2:13 in the morning on this gorgeous Saturday evening. It's very windy out. I just want to open the windows. Andrew's currently out. He's celebrating Halloween weekend in his own way. He didn't even get dressed, but he's out at his best friend's house. They're having like a party, and I was like, oh, I'm going to be productive and shoot a podcast episode. And it took longer than I anticipated because my camera died midway, and so I had to let it charge. And so I started doing TikToks and being even more creative. And I'm just like, look at these creative juices flowing. I can't stop it. The creative train is fueled up. The coal is in the furnace. There's workers in there. It's like the Polar Express, and we're trudging along. We're going station to station, picking up any form of creativity, and we're just going on a journey, going on an adventure. So I wish I can keep going. I kind of wanted to hit the hour and 30 mark, but I am exhausted. I'm going to sign off. Gotta get this makeup off. Gotta get this wig off. I'm overstimulated. I just want to take off my bra, put on my jammies. Actually, I'm going to take a nice little shower, and then get in my jammies and probably order like a sandwich from my favorite deli. I know it's 2 a.m, but trust the process. It's an amazing deli with amazing sandwiches, and I'm craving that right now. So I'm going to get going. Happy Halloween for all those who celebrate. This is going up on Tuesday. So yeah, it should be soon. Okay guys, take care. Be safe. Love you all. Bye.